on, Philadelphia. It is a beautiful, beautiful Monday morning here as we're recording at the Pyramid Club high atop the 52nd floor. And I believe Dallas Goedert may have some similar conspiracy theories as, I don't know, maybe everybody in this room, maybe you at home. Vince Quinn, it is humid, disgusting, and I am so glad that I don't have to think about going to training camp in a few short weeks. Days? Are we down to now?
8 days is what I just read?
Days.
Yeah.
And they can't come fast enough.
They really can't. You know what? You know what I did the other day? It's been a now brand new hobby of mine. Have you ever heard of hobby horsing?
I'm going to find out what that is.
You are going to find out what this is. It is, okay, so there are people in Finland that run a competition where they get, like, the horse head on a stick, and they act like they are riding the horse.
I did see this.
Yes. So they act like they're riding the horse, and they jump over hurdles and things like they had a horse with a stick that has a horse head.
People in Finland have nothing else to do, I swear.
Ty, I'm telling you, man. I saw that, and I go, I would rather play Dungeons and Dragons in front of 1 million people than pretend like I'm riding a horse.
First off, Dungeons and Dragons rules. How dare you?
I'm just saying, like, at least that's an imaginary thing. That's
Now we're gonna get a bunch of Dungeons and Dragons fans attacking us now. Thanks a lot, John.
Yeah, you're welcome. You're welcome. Are these adults that are doing this, or this kids?
It's mostly kids.
Awesome.
But there's a couple of adults out there that are trying to get in. You know it.
Which is worse then? Is it that if Dallas Goedert was doing that?
Yeah.
Or that he came out and said, I actually am kind of down with, like, the moon landings being fake.
Yeah.
Which one would you like him to which category would you like him to be
I think he'd be great at hobby horsing, by the way. I think he'd be a wonderful hobby horser because he rides a unicycle. Taylor's a big fan of him riding the unicycle, so we could talk about that. But, yeah, dude, like, I thought it was so funny that Dallas Goedert is, because this got brought up because of A.J. Brown as well. So it's like,
who also believes, right?
Yeah, that the moon landing was faked, which, do you think it was faked?
No.
No? Okay, yeah. I don't. Ty?
I think there's some good things to.
There's evidence for it being faked. I'm just saying.
So Ty is on the You Could Convince Me committee?
Yeah, I can be convinced. I'm just saying.
Taylor Kredatus, thumbs up, thumbs down. What do we got? Are we?
It's a Stanley Kubrick masterpiece.
There it is. Had to fit him in there.
I think it's real.
Yeah,
I do believe in the moon landing, but I love that that's such a continual thing that everybody's always like, yeah, I don't know. And Dallas Goedert's whole reasoning for it was, well, I don't know, man, they didn't have Bluetooth.
Like, man, if you could, if the moon landing is fake in 1963, congratulations. Yeah. Like, if you had the technology to do all that stuff, you win. You've convinced me, but I'm pretty sure we went there.
Yeah, I'm pretty
multiple times. There was a whole movie about how they almost didn't make it back. You remember that one? So,
wait, which
Apollo
one?
13.
Oh yeah, okay. I was thinking of what was that Sandra Bullock movie? Gravity.
Gravity?
Have you ever seen Gravity?
Never saw Gravity.
Oh my God, it's so good. Okay, the whole idea is Sandra Bullock is at a space station and she's trying to get back to Earth. Like, I guess her time is up or whatever. But then something hits the space station. And it's like all this crazy stuff of her in space trying to just not die like 8 times over. And it is so good. It's like an hour and 20 minutes. It is just like a bullet train of anxiety. It's fucking awesome. It's so good. But anyway, it's just like, it's funny because with NFL players, you get so many conspiracy theories all the time. And like one of them that you hear a lot from NFL players, I'd be curious for you guys on this too, is that dinosaurs aren't real.
Oh, yeah.
Have you ever, right? I feel like once every 2-3 years or so, there's an NFL player that's just like, yeah, man, dinosaurs. I don't see it. Like, I
think our old friend Ike Reese was caught up in that at
Ike
one point.
Yeah, he definitely was one of those guys. So it's just so funny that so many people, it's like, there's giant skeletons of all of these things all over the place, and people are still looking at it and going like, yeah, no, I don't know. I don't think this is the thing.
I will say this, though. As someone who questions nearly everything, I appreciate the dinosaur thing. Like, well, you might not have gone to the moon. Well, I don't know. Like, you don't hear anybody who's like saying, well, gravity doesn't exist. Or gravity's made up because everybody falls, right? So it's just kind of...
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, how are we supposed to react to these things? Because I don't think it's any different than any of the shit that anybody would say in this room, right?
Well, yeah, and that's one of the things that I like about it. He's honest about it. He's like, yeah, man, I don't know. Like, I think that's one of those things that's so like, true of NFL players that people don't always appreciate is like a lot of times, I mean, they are the population. You know what I mean? They're people from all over the country, from all these different backgrounds and whatever. And like some of them believe crazy shit. So it's fun once in a while to hear them just come out and be like, yeah, man, I don't know about the moon landing. I don't think that was the thing. Like, and for him too, he was like, yeah, I actually think they did the moon landing earlier than what they said they did. And then whatever they released was after that. And I was like, now that's a take. Like
I stand corrected. If you showed me evidence of that, that is something I could believe because you're trying to get there before the Russians do, right? So if you make it look like you actually landed there first, but then didn't go there until like a year later, I could see that, Ty.
All I got to say is we never went back since 1963. So that just fuels my fire. I'm just saying. Why haven't we gone back?
Well, there was many flights that went after the first Apollo landed, right? So like,
I like that now you're doing
None of them were to the moon.
Allegedly.
doing air quotes.
Well, and here's why. I'll open up, right?
Okay.
I'll open up.
Yeah.
Now, this is more football related, but this just shows you, like, we think crazy shit all the time. Tom Brady is totally a CIA agent. There is no doubt about it. He's gotten away with so much stuff that he has got to be protected by somebody, the NFL, the government, somebody. Like, and if you're going, John, this is where I draw the line. Tom Brady is not a CIA agent. Yeah? Well, Sam Rockwell made a fucking movie about being a game show host and the prize being go assassinate people on the trip. So I don't think that it's far-fetched that someone or something is controlling Tom Brady at all times. Even if it's pinky in the brain, just hanging out in his face and all of a sudden popping out. Like
He's the Manchurian quarterback?
Yeah,
Is that what you're
he's totally the Manchurian quarterback. There's nobody, right? He's broken every single record. I just hit a light out of pure enthusiasm in the studio, and that's kind of the point here. Like, there's no real good evidence, but it's all circumstantial because he never gets caught. This man was involved in one of the worst crypto things ever, and there was just like, oh, that didn't happen. I know he lost all this money, but let's just say, like, he's in debt to somebody. How come he's not making enough money with the Patriots? I'll tell you why. He's getting paid by the fucking government to knock people off. That's why. Why is Giselle not with him anymore? Because he's a fucking maniac psycho and no one wants to be around that household as he's sniping off people left and right.
Well, clearly
she found
Giselle,
out the secrets and she's out.
She's a Brazilian agent, and so together they're just they're both Illuminati. They're hitmen for the Illuminati.
They had a contract,
Giselle and Tom Brady, clearly.
just like Tom Cruise and Katie Holmes did in the early 2000s, and you know what I'm talking about.
I've heard some crazy things being said on this show. This one definitely is taking the cake.
See,
this
Dallas,
is absolutely ridiculous.
I am taking the heat off of Dallas Goedert and AJ Brown.
Well, yeah, okay. Well, let me add. So here's the one for me that is like when I first heard about it, I was like, oh, that's completely insane. And then the more that I've thought about it, and you see things evolve over time, I'm like, I don't know. You ever heard of simulation theory?
No.
Okay. Strap in.
She thought I was crazy, Ty.
Simulation theory is the idea that everything that we experience in our world is a high-level computer simulation. We are the Sims. We are the highest level of computer-processed Sims technology, basically. And everything that we're living, doing, experiencing, it's all a digital, made-up. We're basically in the Matrix. Like, the Matrix is real, is pretty much simulation theory. And at first, I'm like, there's no possible way. And then you see the quality of simulations these days, and it's like, I don't know, if a species made it to like, I don't know, 2,500, then is there any reason they couldn't create an alternate reality that's that kind of good? See, Ty.
No, he just looks more confused than like,
I thought I had him for a second.
This could be going
I thought I had him for a second.
Nope, I'm still out on this one.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that would explain like the gut feeling that you have or like the intuition to do a thing, or you go and you know your phone's going to ring for no reason and it suddenly does. Like, maybe that's just somebody dragging you over with the mouse going click, click, Yeah. And you just feel that and you're supposed to do that.
So yeah. And like, there's enough shows about that kind of stuff. Like there's a show, it's called Upload on Prime. That's all about this idea of like when you're about to die, they will just basically zap your head and put you on a chip. And then you exist in an altered, like in the metaverse, basically.
See, Ty, let me break this down for you. What you want to do is watch season 1 of a show called Battlestar Galactica, because that's exactly what Vince is describing here. We're all a bunch of Cylons mixed with the human race. No one can tell the difference in between this and that, and we're basically being controlled by robots, which in this day and age doesn't sound that crazy.
Well, in this case, then you two are robots, and I'm the actual human being out this entire group.
Well, let's get into it, Ty. I know there's some juicy stuff around your noggin that, like, maybe are a little careful to say amongst the public, but maybe not friends.
Yeah, outside of the moon landing not really existing, not really. I keep my takes really straightforward.
We're gonna get them out of
full
you.
of common sense.
We're gonna find something, Ty. We're gonna pick and prod. But until
Remember
then,
that he said common sense, by the way.
Yeah.
So we got a whole season to get to that.
You know what? I got one theory. I think Taylor's a robot. I kid you not, because the way I've never seen nobody hook up technology the way he does. I've seriously.
This man set up a studio twice in 3 hours. So,
Exactly.
Like, I like that theory. Is Taylor Kredatus a robot?
no, the answer is yes. The answer is yes. So here's another conspiracy theory. This is the last one.
There's
It's like a
more?
little.
Oh,
There's
God.
one. This one is dumb. It's so funny. The theory is: have you ever heard the theory that Walt Disney froze himself before he died?
I thought that was actually true. His head.
So that's the theory, at least. The
'Cause
family
he is a psychotic.
Yes, correct. But on top of that, so here's the theory on top of the theory, which is the idea that the movie Frozen was made by Disney to cover up Google searches about Walt Disney's head. Which is so funny.
I don't think that's a theory. That is simple. We need to get rid of this SEO, and we need to make 2 of these
Okay.
really good.
But what do you think is going to happen then? Like, are you preparing for somebody like it's Nicolas Cage in National Treasure? Like somebody's
Yeah.
going to come in and steal Walt Disney's head?
Yes.
Like,
yes. Have you seen the amount of people that have done stuff on very limited information, wrong or right? Yes, of course they want to get rid of that. What are you here for? Well, we wanted to see if the Walt Disney thing was true. That's pretty much everybody you'll meet. This
This is one take I can get on board with. I don't know why. I just, for some reason, believe it. And then when I saw Frozen, I'm like, you know what? Y'all think y'all slick.
And maybe they secretly placed his head animated in that movie, too. So we'll have to go back and watch that.
So there's that. So you steal Walt Disney's head, and then you ride off on a unicycle. It's a pretty good way to go.
I love that.
It's a pretty good way to go. So, yeah, okay. So that's the conspiracy theory stuff. Some of the other things here. So just getting into, like, one light-ish actual football thing. You were so pissed about DeAndre Hopkins when you came in. Like,
I couldn't believe, like, he's either super washed or, like, the Titans. How do you have this laundry list of quarterbacks you would play for, which is all, I got sucked in. I bit the cheese. That's
you
what
totally
happened.
did.
I was like, I prefer this, but I'd really just like to play for the people that are paying me the most money. I'm assuming that's what happened here. And I just think it's fucking hilarious. I'm more like laughing at the Titans than I am Hopkins. You could have paid A.J. Brown. Instead, you've traded Traylon Burks, stinks, and now got one of the best wide receivers on the back end of his career to be wide receiver 1, which is a lot different than wide receiver 3. So good luck with the 9 wins, Tennessee, I guess, and whoever's gonna Malik Willis is gonna come out there week 8 or 9 when Ryan Tannehill breaks his thumb or whatever it is.
Well, dude, they're already talking about Malik Willis getting cut.
It's absolutely
It's
ridiculous.
so bad. That's
Vrabel
so
hates
bad.
him. I don't know what it is. Vrabel hates that guy's guts. Clearly.
Because he's not ready, right? And he was selected in the third?
Well, he was taken at the top of the 3rd, and it's funny because when he came out, everybody's like, "Oh, well, this is the number 1 pick in the draft."
Right here, this guy.
He's a 3rd-round pick, but he came out at 20 years old. So, yes, he's going to need some development. Your average quarterback comes out 21, 22 years old.
And by the way, I don't think he hates Malik Willis. I think he hates that he had a really good team with one of the best wide receivers on it, and now he's got diddly squat, and he's trying to shove Ryan Tannehill to, like, the AFC Championship game, and I just don't think it's going to work. That's all. I just love the Philadelphia Eagles and their approach. That's all.
Yeah, and that's why this stuff always piles up. Like, we talked about it a couple of weeks ago, right? It's like bad teams find ways to fuck things up all the time in the offseason. This is one of those things. You can't get a guy like A.J. Brown. I mean, the contract is a joke. Like, he's worth, like, I don't know, $16 million a year at certain points. He costs nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing. And then they're like, all right, well, now we got to pay Hopkins, who for him, he wants the highest dollar he can possibly get. He's not getting another deal like this. Whatever he's getting with Tennessee, he will never see that kind of money again.
No.
Odds are. So, like, you're just holding on for dear life. Same thing, Joe Mixon just got a deal that he signed with Cincinnati. And the whole thing with that is probably he's taking less. His cap hit's going down significantly. And he's afraid because he's not getting a contract again as a running back. And now all these other guys like Saquon Barkley, Josh Jacobs, all these guys are like, oh, shit, he took a deal. So now our framework is fucked, and they're all going to have to do the same thing.
Evan Ingram just signed a bigger deal than Saquon Barkley is going to get. That's just fucking ridiculous. That's just like, and this is, the more and more I keep looking at the running back room of the Philadelphia Eagles, it's awesome. It's a bunch of guys that are getting paid like 1/10 of that, and they're probably not going to be here next year.
Yeah.
And they'll get a comp pick from one, if not two running backs, if someone, especially, well, I don't know what's going to happen with DeAndre Swift. I would assume he sticks around here if he's having a good year, but I don't know, man. Every time that the offseason comes around, there has been no pool parties that have gotten out of control. We're 8 days away from training camp. No one's broken a thumb. No one's twisted anything dumb. Just need football to be back and less conspiracy theories to be told through players' mouths.
Now, John, if something happens, I'm going to hold you fully responsible for your egregious words that came out your mouth. Why you jinxing stuff, John?
It's their fault. I'm saying we're just 8
but
days
you
away.
But you put it out there in the universe, John.
I did. Blame me if anything happens in the next 8 days. But if it doesn't happen in the next 8 days, you automatically have to click and go with us to LA. That's the rule. Bet? Okay, even if you don't, check it out. It's in the bottom of this show/podcast, right in the description down there. And if you don't feel like doing it at this moment, let me tell you about it. It's all inclusive, meaning breakfast is served, lunch is served every single day. So you don't have to worry about it, except for the days that, tailgates and the game day and all that stuff. But for however long you're there on non-game days, we're feeding you. We're making sure you've got transportation from here to the airport, from LA to the hotel. And the hotel is phenomenal. Downtown LA, views beyond views to see everything. Very accessible to the beaches in Santa Monica and Malibu, with buses going to there as well. So very excited for you to come hang out with us in LA. And there's been a lot of West Coast Bird Gang stuff popping up. So if you're already out there, please let us know. We'd love to know how to, the tailgate things we still haven't finalized yet. We have stuff. We just need places to put the stuff, and there's a couple of groups we're talking to. So if you are one of those groups that wants to hang with us, please let us know. Text us anytime, 215-509-5833. You can also ask us if you have any questions or really actually, here's what I want. Along with any LA questions, give me, on the text line only, the worst conspiracy theory that you can think of that you might actually think is true, and I will not use your name if you feel like it's going to be detrimental to whatever. I'm just curious what you think.
I would love to hear what people are into. I would so love to hear what people are into. Yeah.
Text us, 215-509-5833. Gentlemen, anything else before we get on out of here?
No, life's a simulation. Who cares?
I think you all are crazy as hell.
Yes, that is very true. Taylor, anything else to add there?
No conspiracies that are pod friendly.
And that, my friends, is Bell and the Birdmen. We'll see you next week. Hopefully talking about training camp, which is awesome. Okay, bye.
Bye.